Hi friends, it's your girl Fee and welcome back or welcome to my channel. I just realized that I have not yet wished you guys a happy new year. So here's to a happy 2022, good health, financial stability, and all the good things that you may desire. In today's video, I want to talk about what school in the Netherlands has been like for my son. So go ahead and sit back and relax and get comfortable and we'll get right into it. So the first thing I'd like to point out is that outside of finding a place to stay, the other thing that I guess scared me or stressed me out the most was finding a school for Cameron, just because I wasn't comfortable with how the Dutch education system works and I just didn't know where we were gonna live and what school he was gonna go to. Started doing some research and we narrowed it down to either three, types of school that Cameron could go to, and that was either gonna be a public school, an international school, or a Montessori school. After doing extensive research, we quickly found out that he was not going to be going to an international school because those run about 11 to 15,000 a year, and that was definitely not in our budget. So we put that off to the side and we narrowed it down to a public school. Now, truthfully, the reason a public school was the best option for us is because we moved to the Netherlands for a reason. We wanted Cameron and ourselves to be immersed into the Dutch culture. We wanted Cameron to go to school with the neighbors, and the public school was going to be the best option for that. In addition to that, our move to the Netherlands is not a short term. We plan on being here for a long time, so it just made the most sense to take him to a public school. So with all that being said, Cameron goes to a public school. But what's super amazing about the school that Cameron goes to, now this is only with Dordrecht. I'm not familiar with how it works in other cities. Maybe if someone knows, they can let us know in the comment section. But in Dordrecht, the kids that move into the Netherlands from other countries are all assigned to go to a specific school. And this specific school is funded by the local government, and they are professionals in immersing kids into the Dutch culture, which I think is so amazing because all the kids are starting out on the same level. So Cam doesn't go to school that's right by the house and has small Dutch as a second language program. He goes to a big school that specializes in teaching foreign kids the Dutch language and culture in general. So we made an appointment with the school director to go and get him signed up and registered for school. And it was such a pleasant experience right from the beginning. You know, I was worried because there's a lot of documents that I didn't have readily available when we were registering Cameron for school. For example, I didn't have his original birth certificate. I didn't have any BSN number for him yet because we still had not had our appointment with the Mente to get our BSN numbers. We still didn't have our resident primary cards because our appointment was way after his school would have started. So I just thought this was going to be a disaster. Didn't have the documents, that he wasn't going to be able to start school like 2 months after school had started. Because just to get you guys some context, when you're registering your kid for school in the United States, you need a lot of paperwork. And if you don't have any of that paperwork, don't waste your time. You're not going to get your kid registered. So I was so worried that Cam would not be able to start school when the new school year was starting. So we went over and met the school director, and oh my goodness, it was such a positive experience. She was so calm. She was so friendly. When she asked for some of the documents that we needed and we didn't have, and we told her we still didn't have them because we're waiting for our appointments, she was like, oh, that's no problem at all. Don't worry about it. Just send them over to me whenever you get them. There's no rush. So it was super easy. We got him registered for school, which was so shocking to me because like I said, in the US, if you don't have the original birth certificate, if you don't have the vaccination certificates, if you don't have like your lease or your title deed, there's no way you're signing your kid up for school. So we were able to get Cam signed up for school with no problems at all. In addition to that, I now had a gut feeling. I was like, okay, if the school director is this way, then surely the teachers were going to be calm as well. And that's the one thing I really have noticed about school in the Netherlands versus the United States is just how chill and calm the atmosphere is. When it comes to his teacher, for example, I always get the sense that Cameron's teacher is not only so focused on his education, he's also focused on him as a person. For example, he'll occasionally reach out to us and ask us, how is Cameron enjoying school? How is he adjusting? Does he enjoy coming into school? You know, in the United States, when you hear from your kid's teacher, it's mostly because something is going wrong. Like, I'll tell you guys an example of what happened when Cam was like 5 years old. I once got a call from his teacher and said that during recess, Cam and one of the other boys were playing, and that Cam was doing like, he was playing, acting like he had a gun. So he was doing like the gun sign, and the teacher was like really shocked that he was doing that. And honestly, I was just really confused because he's a boy, he's a kid. That's what boys do. They pretend that they are shooting guns. I mean, girls play with dolls, boys play with guns and cars, like it's harmless. But she was like, no, we don't want him doing that. It was just crazy. And you know, I definitely respect authority. I'm not one who's defiant to authority, but that just really shocked me that she was making a big deal about him pretending he was playing with a gun. Anyways, all that to say that when you hear from a teacher in the United States, it's mostly because your kid's in trouble. In the Netherlands, however, I feel like Cameron's teacher is really invested in him. In fact, I was reading in his school calendar that if it wasn't for Corona, that the teacher would actually make a house call and come to our house to just visit. Now, I'm not sure, I may have understood that incorrectly, but can you guys let me know in the comment section, is that actually a thing where the teacher comes to the student's house to visit? I mean, I think it's so different, but so cool. Something else that has stood out is that when we do have interactions with Cameron's teacher, it's usually about just Cameron. There's no comparison to what the next kid is doing. You know, it always felt like when you interacted with his teachers in the United States, they were always telling you about where other kids are compared to where he is, how he's doing better or how he's not doing better compared to other kids. Here, I feel like our interaction with his teacher is more so just about him. There's no competition involved, and I think that's so much healthier as opposed to always having your kids compete with the next kid. You know, that can psychologically be good for them. Another thing that has been a learning curve for us with school in the Netherlands is the fact that school lunches are not provided, so that they don't have a cafeteria for the kids to be able to purchase lunch from. So all the lunch has to be provided by the parents, and that's definitely been something that's been very different for us. And I'll just tell you guys how we had a little bit of an oopsie. So when we were speaking with the director, she let us know that we would have to pack his lunch, and that's the only thing that we need to provide. Everything else, because the school is funded by the local government, we don't need to send Cameron to school with anything but lunch, which is also really mind-blowing to me. Like, we don't even need to send him in with a pencil. They provide everything for him. So the director told us that all he needs is a backpack and his lunch. So we asked the director, just because we were new here and we didn't know, was there a standard lunch that we were supposed to pack for him? And she said, no, you know him, he's your kid, just pack whatever you think he likes best. She told us the only thing is that we don't like them to bring sweets into school or candy into school, so that's the one thing we can avoid. That was great, that was perfectly fine, made sense. So we packed Cam a lunch on his first day, and I just packed him what would be a typical American lunch, which was sandwich and a couple chips, yogurt, and a juice box. Well, guys, I messed up because when Cam came home, he told us that his teacher told him that he's not allowed to have chips. And to be honest, guys, I know you are definitely gonna come at me in the comment section and say chips. I'll tell you what, I'm just basically packing him what's a typical United States lunch. I'm just doing what I know in packing the chips. But all that to say that his teacher quickly let him know that he's not allowed to have lunch and actually did not let him eat the chips. He had to like cover it up and put it back inside his bag. For me, it stood out as they're taught in school social studies about being healthy, and not only are they preaching it, but they're also practicing it. So you can tell that health is a very major forefront of his education, and they definitely put that into effect with what they carry for lunch. Cameron's teacher is very particular in what he carries for lunch, and he's not afraid to let the kids know that they cannot bring that back to school again. Something else too is that when it comes to his school breaks, so he has 2 breaks in school. In the US, he only had 1 break, and he had a much longer school day in the US. But what's super amazing, not only does he get the 2 school breaks, but he actually gets to play outside during the school break. So in the US, in the wintertime, he didn't get to go outside and play. In addition to that, with his 1 break, it was only 40 minutes long. And within that 40 minutes, he had to eat and play. For a little kid, their focus is more on playing. They're really not gonna wanna eat. In the Netherlands, he has an hour break, which is amazing because he has ample time to eat and he has ample time to play, and he gets to go outside and play, which he absolutely loves. He gets out all that energy and able to come back for his afternoon session rejuvenated. In addition to that, the Netherlands schools have more vacations as opposed to how it works in the US. So in the US, they have just a few vacations here and there. Outside of that, their longer vacation for 3 months is in the summer. Here, they have many frequent vacations every 2 to 3 months, which I personally think is amazing because the kids get a break and are able to like regroup as opposed to going long periods of time without having a break, and they're exhausted. And then when they go on break for the summertime, it's so long, they almost forgot everything they learned during the school year. So I really love the fact that the Netherlands has much more, they may be shorter, but they're more frequent school breaks. The last thing that has been really awesome is how they handle the homework. Cameron's teacher will send him home with workbooks to do extra work. However, he doesn't have to take the workbooks back into school. So it's more so for the parents to just make sure that he's getting the work done so he can get better in learning whatever subject it may be. And I think this takes the pressure away from the kids. They're not stressed out about having to turn it in at a certain time. It's just more relaxed extra work that the kids get to do. So I guess my final takeaway about school in the Netherlands has been that it's been really a positive experience. Again, there's so much that I still have to learn because he's just in his first school, but I'm taking it one step at a time. But so far, it's been a very positive experience, and I strongly believe and hope that it continues to be a positive experience as he gets older. I get the sense that they don't foster this environment of unhealthy competition amongst the kids, just a fun environment where the kids go to school and enjoy learning. Cam has never complained about going to school. He's always really looking forward to it, which to me was a little worrisome. I worried that because he didn't know Dutch language, that school would be tough for him, but he is absolutely loving going to a Dutch school. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and until next time, bye guys.